All right, guys. So, in the previous lesson, we have covered how to actually create content with AI. And right now, we will cover how to actually enhance your social media marketing using AI. So, with that said, let's get right into it. And before I do, we will do four things. Okay. First of all, I'm going to show you two tools you can actually use for free, to start with for social media management. Now, from these tools, you can manage all your social media from one dashboard, right? So whether you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, whatever else, you can then manage ads, manage content posting, manage, content calendar, content scheduling, all from one place. And I feel like this is going to save you so much of time because if you have multiple social media platforms and then doing everything, from them rather than to do it from one, nice dashboard, it is way easier. So with that said, that's the first thing. Second thing we are going to do is that I'm going to show you how to actually analyze what the sentiment of your audience. In other words, what people are saying about your brand online and how to actually use your data and how to use these data to make your marketing better using ChatGPT. So that's going to be the second thing. And the third thing, I am going to show you how to actually use tool called Upfluence, which basically teaches you how to, find the right influencers for collaborations. It's absolutely unreal tool. And with that said, let's get right into that. All right, so let me just make myself smaller. So right now we are inside the tool Metricool, which is essentially social media management tool, which you can, manage and post and like schedule all your content from all your social media channels from. Now, with that being said, let me show you what it looks like, right? So first thing we have is this analytics, dashboard right here. And now if you go to the left, you can simply, connect all your platforms. The only thing that you have to do is to simply click on this plus button and then, you just connect your website, right? Very simple. The same thing goes with other things as well. Like if we click on Pinterest, we will simply click on connect Pinterest account and then you simply type in your email and log in and you're connected. I did it the same way with my Facebook and with my Instagram. Now, very simple, like there's not too much about it, right? Now let's just quickly, right, go over, my stats because that's the first feature of the metrical, right? Now right here you can see all my basic metrics. So you can see followers, who am I following, and how much of total content I have posted. Now this is within the last month, right? I have obviously not posted any content on my personal Instagram because I just don't post content on my personal Instagram. Then the next thing that you can see is the demographics of your audience, which is very useful when you want to, create content. You can also see the age range. It's absolutely unreal. I feel like it's even better than Instagram Insights because it's just better, right? Next thing that we have is followers by country. I'm obviously from Czech Republic, so you can see majority of them are from Czech Republic. Then you can also see like followers by city, which by the way is very, very important because people like it's important because like when you know where your audience is from, and I'm not talking about the personal Instagram, then you can easily discover, who like what to do, what kind of content to create, what to do, what not to do, and like basically tailor the content towards your target audience. Now, the next thing that we can clearly see Okay, now the next thing we can see is the reach of our account. In other words, how many people saw our account in the last 30 days, right? Now you can clearly see 604, and if if you see like this graph right here, you can clearly see, impressions on each day, right? Now, this is essentially how many people on average saw my profile, right? And this also, by the way, this gives you like an overview, right? Now, if you want to see like different, time spans, like for example, like 3 months ago, you need to purchase the paid version, right? Now, next thing, um, it also gives you the summary for your organic content, right? So like there's literally no engagement. Engagement means how many people liked, commented, or shared my post because like I've said, didn't post. Interactions, that's how many people commented my on my content. And then the average reach per post is just average of all these stats. Right now, right here, you can see organic, interactions, which is likes, comments, saves, and how many posts I've made. Obviously, there's none, but like again, it shows you, everything. And yes, now very, very cool thing about Metricool is that it lets you add lists of competitors, right? In other words, you can compare your data to the data of your competitors. Now, if you only use Instagram, you don't have access to this feature because you cannot open somebody else's Instagram and see their reach, right? But Metricool lets you see that, right? They let you see, how many followers they have, how many posts, how many reels, how many likes, how many comments. And then based on this, the AI lets you compare it with your account. And in that way, you can see which are the bottlenecks or which are the problems that influence your business in a negative way. So that's absolutely insane. Now the next feature of Metricool is that you can literally, and I mean literally, just now right here you can see all the messages on Facebook and Instagram or any other social media platform, and you can then respond them within this platform. I obviously like not deleted, but like I just made all the messages invisible simply because I don't want to show you my personal messages. But like from this, you can clearly create new messages, which is absolutely unreal. So that's pretty much that. You can also search the conversation like this, right? Now, the next thing is the planning tab, right? And this is absolutely unreal because it literally lets you plan content based on time and based on day, right? So let's just say I want to create, it also shows me like what time is it right now. So let's just say I want to schedule a post for tomorrow for 4 p.m., right? And then I can literally just, um, I can literally like click on plus, right? Then we have Facebook selected as the main one, right? And then right here, I can, select if I want to, do a post, reel, or a story. And right here, I can simply add all the media, all the copy, and it lets you see like whatever it is, right? Like what is in the post. So this is absolutely unreal. And then you simply click on the date, which you already clicked, but if you want to change it, you can change it for Wednesday, for example, and then you just hit schedule, and this will host automatically. Now you can do this for all your social media. This is why it's so powerful, right? This is why I'm telling you, like, use it because it saves you so much of your time. Now, the next thing you can do is something called smart links. Now, what is this? You can simply create clickable buttons or, links with customized colors, customized text, and everything with this. But if you see like all these influencers who got like interesting, links and like they don't have these crazy long links, this is because they use this. But it's only available with the paid plan. And now, last but not least, is the ads, option. Now, you do this simply by connecting your Meta Ads account, Google Ads account, or TikTok Ads account. And from here, you simply, manage all your ads like you would normally have, in your Meta Ads business suite, for example. So this is pretty much that. Also, it gives you, recommendations for keywords and recommendations from AI, which is absolutely unreal. So this has been pretty much that. Now, let me show you one more tool that I feel like is also very interesting when it comes down to planning on social media. So let's do it. And this tool is called Sprout Social. And let me tell you this. This tool is literally like very similar to the Metricool, right? It lets you, access inbox, it lets you publish. It also lets you, access your reports on every single page that you do. Now, in my opinion, Metricool is better. However, I highly recommend you checking out both because I feel like these both of them are great. But like I've said, Metricool is way easier, way simpler, and way more intuitive than Sprout Social. But like I've said, all these tools, both of these tools have free plan, right? So that's pretty much that. And yeah. Now, with that said, let's move to another thing, which is actually finding what your audience thinks about your brand. And then based on that, segmenting your audience based on these behaviors and opinions so that you can target your messaging, right? Because let's just imagine, right? Let's just imagine you find that, you know, let's just imagine this. Why it's even important. Let me tell you this first. So the reason why it's so important is because your audience, and now listen to me, your audience could, have trust issues, right? And you might be thinking that they already trust you. Now, when they don't trust you, there's no place and like no reason to sell to them. However, if you don't know that, then like why would you even like you just don't know that, right? Like so because you don't know that, you're going to create wrong content. And if you create wrong content, you waste your time, energy, plus you don't make any profit. So it's like lose-lose scenario at all costs and like on all fronts and like whatever, right? So because of that, you have to do something called audience segmentation, which is basically dividing your audience into segments based on their behaviors and opinions. And then based on that, because like when 80% of your audience like don't trust you and they don't have trust within whatever you do, you have to create your content in a way that builds trust, right? There's no place and like no way on earth to like sell, right? So it's very simple. So for that reason, I'm going to show you how to actually segment your audience using AI and using your brain. So let's do that. Now, the first thing you got to do before we can even use AI is to actually gather all the feedback and then, put it in one place. So this is more like for already established brands because like if you're a new brand, you don't know what people think about you. And the only way you're going to discover that is by actually putting stuff out, right? But we're not going to be covering that right now. However, if you are already established brand, simply go over likes, comments, shares, and like write down all these things that you gathered that you can, by the way, that you can gather in Metricool, for example, and then copy and paste them all into one Google document. The more you have, the better. And if I'm being completely honest with you, like you should copy and paste as much information as possible. So like what you can literally do, right? Let me just make myself smaller again. Okay, now when we are inside a Metricool, we can basically get all the data when it comes down to our social media. And how we do that is extremely simple. However, I warn you, you have to have a paid plan. So what we're gonna do is we are right here in the home page, and then we just have to scroll down and go to reports. And we basically what we do, we will select the period which if I were you, like if you're established brand, I would include some like longer term reports. So for example, 6 or 3 months, because that's the data you you can build upon, right? And then what you can do, you can literally like select which kind of social media do you want to have inside the insights, and then you can also select by how many by what you actually want to sort it by, right? If you want to sort it by impressions, page views, likes, whatever. And then you can also customize it with report, which is absolutely insane. And then you can simply select when do you want to receive it, and that is pretty much that, right? Basically, click generate PDF or generate PPT, and then you can also automate it, like you can see right here. So this is how you get the data. That's the first thing you want to, know your impressions, likes, whatever. Then what you also want to know, and that's more like a manual job for you, is to, gather all the comments and all the opinions, like just go to, if you have Trustpilot, if you have like Google Places, and like these reviews, like all the possible reviews, all the people possibly talking about you, just get it to one place, okay? Get it to one place. And then what you want to do, copy all of these data, everything into one Google Doc. And then we are going to go next. We are going to use Chat GPT. Okay, so here's how we're going to separate our audience with the audience sentiment analysis, right? So first of all, we will analyze these customer reviews, right? So here's how we're going to do that. This is the prompt, right? Analyze these customer reviews and categorize them as positive, neutral, or negative. Then you paste it in, and then summarize the main themes in this feedback and their sentiment. So this is the first prompt, right? So let's do it. All right, so right now we are inside the chat GPT, and I just copy and pasted it with all the, I just randomly generated comments right now. And let's do it. So here we will see what it does. So it analyzes, this will take like a minute or two. All right, so right now, ChatGPT just simply, analyze the sentiment, as you can clearly see. And then we are going to turn everything into the analysis with the second prompt. Second prompt is this, right? These are basically like these 3 sentences. So summarizing customer opinions based on this feedback. What are the top 3 things customers love, hate about my brand? And then how can I prove based on this negative feedback, right? So we're just gonna copy and paste it, and let's do it. So it is copy and pasted. Let's put it inside the chat GPT. And here we go, right? Right now, you just simply have, the analysis of what customers love and hate about your brand. And this, potentially saved you a ton of time because ChatGPT analyzed it within like 2 minutes, right? So, and here you can have very, very valuable feedback, and it's pretty easy, right? Just use these 2 prompts, right? You see, very simple. I obviously like wanted to like include a little bit more negative reviews to like challenge ChatGPT, and it's given some nice feedback. Yeah, this is great. So, and like I've said, you can play with this, and it's just great. So, with that said, let's go for the final thing, which is going to be how to actually how to find the right influencers for your brand. And the tool we're going to be using is called Upfluence, and it's super, super simple. You don't even need to register, if I'm not mistaken, to use their free tools. So let's have a look at it. So as you can clearly see, I am not even logged in, right? Then obviously the pricing is unknown because they will basically give you like a custom pricing based on your needs. But when you're just starting out, they're giving you absolutely awesome free tools. Now, let me just show you why this is so important, right? Because look, for example, for Instagram, fake follower checker. If you type in the account, right, the account name, you can check whether they have fake followers. Because if you start working with someone who's got like 100,000 followers, but you don't know whether they're fake or not, they can like take all lot of your money and you will not get anything back because there is going to be no engagement. This is why it's so, so great. So let's just say Jake Paul, right? Um Oh my God. Let's just do this and let's just click. So what you can see right here, Jake Paul has got 12% of fake followers, which honestly is like great, right? It's like great. Now, if you want to see more, if you want to see his audience age, countries they're from, cities, price, stuff like that, you have to, get the paid one. Now, look at another tools, right? Instagram audit tool. So let's just, write my name right here. Just make sure I'm not a robot. And boom. Okay. So I'm not found. Let's just reload this and let's find somebody else, right? Let's just find Jake Paul, for example. And here you can clearly see the engagement rate, followers, faked audience, average comments, and average likes. Now, based on all these tools, right? Engagement tool, which literally like shows you how many people, how many percent of, this audience actually engages with the influencer you want to work with, then, this tool finds it and it's absolutely unreal. The same thing, find Instagram creators, right? Based on the city or the country, you can literally just find them, and then based on some specific metrics such as niche, years of experience and stuff like that, you can then find them way easier. Because I feel like looking for creators on Instagram, it's kind of messy, especially if you don't know the niche yet, right? Like if you're aware of the niche, then it's great, but like be becoming aware of the niche takes a lot of time, and this saves you the time, right? If you see, the follower count again, you can verify whether, they have the amount of followers they already tell. And then you can also use this to compare Instagram influencers. And like if you look at all these tools, like you can use it for TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter, Twitch, and even for Amazon FBA. So I feel like when you're first starting out, when you first want to work with influencers, I feel like this is great because it just gives you unbiased view on these influencers. And the best way to obviously be unbiased is through data, right? Is through actual numbers, because everybody can talk so much. But like if you actually see the numbers, then that's when the reality starts talking. So with that said, I hope you guys learned something new. I feel like these tools are absolutely awesome, especially like majority of them are free to begin with. And then as you get more experience with them, you can then, use use them and get the paid plans. And the most important thing is that these tools like all of them are literally like the easiest to use. Like when people first hear AI, they just get scared because they feel like, oh, but I'm not an IT guy. But like the opposite is true. The AI is here to make your life as easy as humanly possible. And if you follow this tutorial, it's like as easy as it could possibly get. So I hope you guys learned something new and let's go.